In this video, we're going to be looking at some of the dumbest play calls in the NFL postseason this year. These are some of the stupidest calls that really make no sense and backfire in a big-time way. First, we're going to look at Cowboys-Packers extra point doink. Okay. Wow, I cannot find any footage of this. Okay, here we go. Okay, so there's a couple of reasons why that was insanely stupid on the part of the Dallas Cowboys. Basically, you need to understand the deficit that the Cowboys are dealing with and how late in the game that this incident occurred. At this point, you have to figure that, yeah, the Packers' chances of winning about 96%. Like, people were really doubting the Packers, even when they were up multiple scores, just because it was unstable. The Cowboys were undefeated at home; they had a huge home field advantage, and they did look like the better team throughout most of the year. So even when the Packers were up in big time moments, you didn't really see them their win percentage being as high as it really could be. Like, I don't know how it could be up 4 scores, or 3 scores rather, and have a chance of winning be below 90%, especially in the third quarter. But, you know, so this incident happened when there were 18 minutes left in the game. So at that point, you really got to treat it as if it's almost a fourth quarter situation. Because the Cowboys, and they're going to play a picture perfect defense, also now need to, cut it to a 2-possession game. Yes, there is a huge asterisk. Fail on a 2-point conversion, and obviously it stays a 2-possession game. But if we can get all 3 2-point conversions, that's better than forcing yourself to do a totally unnecessary drive. And they had a 2-point conversion that was revoked because Dak decided to throw it instead of just running it in. Otherwise, it would have been 34-18. To be fair, this wouldn't matter as the Packers would wind up scoring, just 90 seconds later. It wouldn't really matter. Although in a way it kind of did, because if you had gotten a 2-point conversion, it would have only been a 3-score game at 23 points, and you still would have been in it. Rather than a 4-possession game at 25 points, where you would need the greatest comeback in NFL history to come back at that point. Like at least 23 points we've seen before with the Monday Night Miracle. But this, yeah, you're not coming back from down 4 possessions this deep in the fourth in the game. Um, Now there were some other play calls later on that I think were even worse. Mainly because soon these play calls will begin to actually matter. This is a good example. You got a close game. So any bad coaches are most likely to scrutinize heavily because the Rams were truly in this one until the very end. Trying to find trying to find okay. Are you kidding me? They're not even showing the punt? No, are you kidding me? They're not even showing the punt? Are you actually joking me? Okay, maybe it's in here. Excuse me, NFL. These are not full highlights. These are not full highlights. These are the last thing. Yep, no footage of display exists. That's unfortunate. In any case, I can show you in the play-by-play what I mean. Um, Basically, they punt with 4 minutes and 7 seconds left. They punt the ball to Detroit because they were too scared to go for it on 4th and 14. That late in the game, you got to think of it as 4 down territory realistically. Especially with how you don't have that many timeouts left. I mean, looking at end of the game, they only had one timeout left at that point. You're punting the ball back to them with 4 minutes left. Um, I mean, like that field position really doesn't mean that much to the Lions when they're only up by one. Because even though yes, you're giving them the ball practically in field goal range, a field goal doesn't kill you. Only a touchdown will. You gotta trust you. You have to trust your players to go for it. You're basically being like a coward in this moment. And Sean McVay's cowardice was obvious at other points in the games. Um, Now, I'm not going to criticize these field goals too much just because it was 4th and 8. This field goal, also, again, 4th and 6. So, not going to criticize it too much. But still, Sean McVay was playing like a coward. And granted, Dan Campbell also finally took the points when he had to with a 54-yard field goal, but still. Because before the punt, the Rams, at the start of this drive, had a 50.2% chance to win the game. And you could see as it went on, like once they punted the ball, Detroit's chances of winning went from 67% to 78% because now you got to force a defensive stop too. I don't know. That punt was pretty stupid. Also, this play call, even though the Bills won didn't matter, this was stupid. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. That I'm sorry. That wasn't the right play. Hold on. We should get these parts out, but I really can't. Okay. Okay, this is the highlight video, so it should be here. This was a huge play. That was pretty stupid, not gonna lie. I think in that case, especially considering that you're up 21 points, you're up 21-0, so you pretty much have the game put away at this point. Like, you either go for it normally or you punt the ball. I will admit punting isn't a great option because you're probably only going to gain 11 yards of next. It's probably rolling in the end zone for a touchback. But but it's 4th and 7. That's not that unreasonable. And in the worst case scenario, you don't get it, is that Pittsburgh is getting the ball earlier on. So even if the kick was missed normally, Pittsburgh will get the ball at their own 39-yard line, not at their own 31. But this is worse. The kick got blocked. The Steelers got the ball in field goal range already because the kick was blocked. And it's not surprising to see why, given the weather. I mean, this game was postponed due to bad weather, but as I mentioned, it was still really bad wind in the game. This is a bad decision. Oh, and just to see how this drive ends, great job, Buffalo. You let the Steelers back into the game with your own stupidity. Because and yes, I will admit, if it's 24-0, you realistically put the Steelers out of the game. But the Steelers like legitimately almost came back from this. Like they genuinely almost came back from this. This gave them a spark, as you could see, and the Steelers would make it a close game. They make it a one possession game. Now, granted, to be fair to the Steelers, the Bills would score immediately after. But I mean, like, given the weather, like this blocked field goal was really stupid, and it gave the Steelers great field position when everyone could have seen it coming. That I was at best going to miss. Oh, and for the record, the Bills missed a 27-yard field goal. So that was pretty stupid. Not going to lie. Now, Bucks Eagles, even though Nick Sirianni made a lot of stupid decisions, a lot of them was just like accepting penalties when he should have declined them and taken the points. I think I don't really think that there's too much other stupidity that you could really blame on him. And honestly, when they were down 25-9, he decided to go for on 4th and 5 instead of accepting the field goal. I mean, I thought it was stupid, but you could make the argument that you're turning a two-possession game into a two-possession game. Obviously, you won't need a two-point conversion if you do it, but you could make an argument as to why the drive should be kept alive. Also, for the previous one, with the two-point conversion, I could see why you want to go for it because you're probably going to get it. Although, to be fair, I would say that a six versus 7 is a bigger gap than 5 versus 6. But not to distract you from real stupidity, because this is a horribly dumb decision. This was not a very good decision by LaFleur at all. This is not a dumb decision, but I want to show you this. So the Packers tried running the ball on 3rd and 1 and it failed. So naturally, in this case, seeing how it failed, you realistically want to kick the field goal here. We're up 6-0, and then when you're up 6-0, then you can especially up 6-0. So that this way, you have points early on. Instead, here's what he decided to do. Go for it. And you don't get it. Oh, and for the record, what did the 49ers do on the ensuing drive? They do that. They score a touchdown with George Kittle. And and this decision really meant the whole world when they realized the Packers lost this game 24-21. So, look at this game. And we see, how it's going. And listen, the Packers should have won this game. Packers should have absolutely won this game over the San Francisco 49ers. They shot themselves in the foot so many times in this game. The 49ers got so incredibly bailed out. And this is only one of them situations where, they get bailed out. You have the Packers throwing an interception around midfield, and then the Packers miss a field goal. And before you say that Carlson can't hit, he missed from 41. That kick would have been from 31. And Anders Carlson should not be on the roster because he is not accurate. Like, you need an accurate kicker. And of course, Jordan Love's fateful interception. So, yeah. And listen, I'm not totally saying that the Packers win this game if LaFleur is up and nothing else changes. Number one, the game would have gone to overtime. And number two, that touchdown at the end of the game. The 49ers might have gone for two to try to end the game in regulation. They might have. It's risky at that point. But they might have, so just want to keep that in mind. Bucks Lions are stupid, but it was really stupid because of the ending, as to how neither coach seemingly knew the situation. JG9 did do a dumb decisions video about it, about how stupid the ending was, but it'll be hard to find footage for it, simply because of the fact that, in that game, it seemed over. This is just a stupid situation. But for the Bills, and I will say this, did not lead to any points for the Chiefs. But this is incredibly stupid. Yeah, that was stupid. First of all, Josh Allen is not the best quarterback in my opinion. He's not even in the top 5, but he's still pretty good. If you're going for 4th and 5, do so normally. Like, literally, do so normally. Don't do, this. Don't do that. And I really don't get why, you were that worried about the Chiefs getting the ball. You've made a few defensive stops on them. You've held them to field goals. A field goal would not make this a 2-score game. You got to have some faith in your defense as well, that they'll be able to hold the Chiefs to 3 or possibly 0. And in the end, this drive actually resulted in a Chiefs fumble. So you got to have a little bit of faith in your defense that you can maybe hold the Chiefs back. Just because, you got to trust your defense. Now, the AFC Championship game had some questionable calls. The NFC Championship game obviously had questionable calls. And I don't think we need to break down those because I've already talked at length as to my feelings on those. And in the Super Bowl, there's some questionable calls, but that will be in another video.